Gabriel Fernandez, who was a trainee for Menudo and was part of it for only a couple weeks, spoke in an interview about the reason he was removed from the group. He tells the story of how he was selected in an audition when he was about to turn 14 years old. After a couple weeks, he was invited to travel to Aruba. There he trained with the group for a presentation. He tells the story. We were staying at a farm in front of the sea, and it had many rooms and each member was staying in one. One day, the choreographer and Diaz arrived from Venezuela. They told me I cannot stay there anymore because they need the room for someone else. They told him he had to go to a hotel, but no other member was asked to leave. I started to feel strange. Why was I the only one who had to leave? When we get to the hotel, things get more strange. They tell me there's only one room available and that both the choreographer and Diaz were going to share the room with me. They told me I had to share the bed with Diaz. As soon as we sit on the bed, Diaz begins telling me of how much he needs love and care. In that moment, I knew something was very wrong. I ran out of the room, cried, sat in the hallway, and stayed there. I didn't sleep. By the next day, he was on a flight to Venezuela and was no longer part of Menudo because of bad attitude.
There is misinformation out there.
Come on, let's have another. And what's your name?
You say you want to escape the relentless pressures of teenage stardom?
Let's jump to 2015, when Angelo Garcia talked about his abuse in the show Suelta la Ropa. He said that Diaz was guilty of child exploitation. The workload was not healthy for a child. I was always sick, with asthma and a sore throat. We could not sleep or eat well. We didn't have time for that. He also told the story of how at a concert in Venezuela in 1990, told Diaz that he felt a lot of pain in his abdomen. Diaz didn't believe him and said, "You just don't want to work." Later, had to run out of the stage as they were performing and he fell to the ground. He began vomiting blood and soon passed out. He was rushed to the hospital and was diagnosed with appendicitis and had an emergency surgery. He almost died. After this, his mom decided to remove him from the group.
Yeah, I understand. People always asking you for personal favors.
Yeah, it seems like we never get a minute to ourselves.
Right after this interview in the show, Diaz put out a statement denying everything, saying that his work was unquestionable and that many families had trusted him through his many projects, and that he was not going to spend the rest of his life defending himself from accusations.
You think something was gonna happen? Conscience. Nah, phooey.
Thought she was your usual airhead bitch.
Came a monster, guess it's just the fury of man. When he stands alone, Chrome is like supply and demand. Abused and mistreated in DC.
Guess I was wrong. We all were.
Dumbass.
There was a lot of things they had to learn.
Another ex-member, Rawi Torres, talked in 2020 of how he had also considered ending his life and how shocking and painful the death of Anthony was. He talked of how the verbal abuse the members endured affected them so much, even decades later. I won't tell you the exact words, but another way to say it is "you are trash," was what Diaz would tell him and his members. Children, literal children. Rawi explains how this behavior affected all of them, all generations, and pushed some of them to cope with substances. He also told more details about what happened when Sergio and Ruben were arrested. It was a traumatic experience, seeing how your members are being arrested and knowing that they are going to be expelled from the group. They are your friends, you are together every day, and suddenly you have to live through something like that. Drugs were something that was happening in Menudo when I was there. Hidden, but always there. Diaz decided to expel them immediately to save the reputation of the group. And forbid the members from talking or making any kind of contact with them. A year later, the remaining 5 members quit the group due to the injustice the 2 previous members had suffered.
Which is exactly my point.
Y asegura que la experiencia fue tan devastadora que intentó suicidarse 5 veces.
5 veces. 5 veces yo intenté, sí, 5 veces. Really?
No, dumbass.
As your resident biblical scholar, let us not forget what Jesus said in the Bible, that anyone who causes a child to stumble, better to have a large millstone thrown around their neck and thrown into the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
Yes.
Live on the surface, but must forever live underground like this.
Alert all units. Monster has begun the attack.
At what point?
03M7. 03M7.
Pledge allegiance to Jesus when time freezes. Became a monster. Guess it's just the fury of man. When he stands alone, Romans like supply and demand. Abused and mistreated indeed. See real, recognize rare. Feel the pain of a heart broken and bleed.
Leave behind your worries. Find that new adventure. Action so dump up. Evil little spice to your life.
She's got new addictions for every day.
Celebrate it by sacrificing a goat to the mighty god Ra.
No, dumbass.
Moloch.
I could go for some goat.
Then in 2020, tragedy arrived when ex-member Anthony Galindo, who was in the group around 1991 and later joined again when the group was rebranded to MDO, died after complications from an attempt on himself. He had been dealing with depression due to the pandemic and how much it was affecting his career. It was known that he had been dealing with mental issues since his days in the group.
Gracias. Gracias.
I'll get you El Ketchup. And El Mustard. If you need anything else, just ask the kiddo hiding in the car door.
Thanks.
Are you ready to tell all the details? Because they're very shocking.
Yes.
He is the key to getting action even after all these decades.